Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to another MMA Breakdown podcast. And in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about tonight's fight on UFC on Fox with Benson Henderson versus Josh Thomson. And these two dudes are warriors. Josh Thompson's coming off a victory of Nate Diaz. And you got on the other hand, we haven't seen Benson Henderson in a while. He lost to Anthony Pettis by a triangle choke, if I'm not mistaken. It's either a triangle choke or an armbar. I'm not exactly sure on that. But this fight card looks to be okay. I'm only looking forward to his fight, the main event and co-main event, which is, the co-main event is let me click on the thing. It is Stipe Miocic versus Gabriel Gonzaga. Gabriel Gonzaga is 16-7, and Miocic is 10-1, and he has a 70% knockout rate with 10% sub and 20% go by decision. And you got Gabriel Gonzaga has a 56 knockout radius. 44% of his victories come by choking or submitting. And I'll say this, he has won all of his fights by going to decision. So Gabriel Gonzaga is a finisher, ladies and gentlemen. He dominates fights, and Gabriel Gonzaga is just on a tear as of late. Let me go down to his thing. He's on a 2-fight winning streak, and the last time he lost was against Travis Brown, and that's saying something. Travis Brown is a beast. He beat his opponent. He beat Dave Herman at UFC 162. He beaten Sean Jordan at UFC 166, and I think he's gonna win this fight because he's just on that high of winning, and he's just a more well-rounded fighter. Yes, Steve Miocic, I'm not pronouncing the name right because I think he's Russian. He is a great boxer. I'm not exactly sure if he's really that technical on the ground, and he's coming off a 1-fight win streak against Roy Nelson, and I think Roy Nelson could have won that fight, but Roy Nelson came on like a 2-week notice, and that's how he lost. Because if Roy Nelson would have had a full fight camp, a full 6 weeks to train for this fight, he would have dominated that fight. He's only lost one time in the UFC that it looks like he's beaten a lot of dudes, and like I said, he's coming off a victory as well. Kind of dominated that fight with the punching, but I think overall you're gonna have a dude who wants to stand and bang. And you do have Gabriel Gonzaga, which is a big heavyweight. He's very strong. He's quick. He has knockout power. We've seen what he did to Miracle Crow Cop. Head kicked him and brutally knocked him out. And like I said, guys, you never ever expect to see somebody head kick knockout that dude. And then we're going to go to the main event, which is Josh Thomson has a record of 20 wins, 5 losses, 30% by knockout, 40% by submission, and 30% go to decision. And Benson Henderson's is 19-3, 21% by knockout, 32% a sub, and basically almost 50% go to decision. So Benson Henderson knows how to play the sport, and he knows how to play the point game. And I think Josh Thomson is not going to have the gas tank like Benson does. Benson has a great gas tank. He took Nate Diaz 5 rounds and kind of had Nate a little huffing and puffing in the 5th round. But he's a great wrestler, and I'm going to go and look at his record right now. Go to fights. The last time he lost before his last time was in 2010. He beat Jim Miller in the UFC, Clay Guida, Frankie Edgar twice, Nate Diaz, Gilbert Melendez, and these are dudes that are beasts, ladies and gentlemen. He beat Gilbert Melendez, he beat Nick Nate Diaz. He's beaten a lot of top dudes, and he defended his title 4 times, and that's a great accomplishment right there. And Josh Thompson, let's go to him, and I'll demonstrate who he's beaten. He beat KJ Noons, lost to Goer Melendez, beat Nate Diaz, and so he's on basically a 1-fight win streak too. So he went win or loss, win, loss, win. So it looks like he's due for a loss, but he looks like he's going to come back and be very hungry and want to dominate this fight. But I don't see that happening. I see Benson Henderson just overwhelming him in the all stand-up game. And then you got Donald Cerrone, which is 21-6-0, 10% by knockout. Really, I thought he had more knockout percentages than that. 67% by subs, 24% by decision, and what's his name? Martins. I'm bad with names. He has a 25-6 record. 44% of his wins are by knockout, 12% by sub, and 44% by decision. So you got on one hand Donald Cerrone, the Cowboy, which is known for dominating fights, and he's on a lose-win kind of fight. He did start his UFC career, as it says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He was on like a 6-fight win streak, and then I heard he wasn't motivated to fight anymore. That's my honest opinion. That's what I heard. But I could see him dominating this fight because he's a great Muay Thai fighter. It's funny, he's more of a Muay Thai stand-up fighter, but he wins mostly by submissions. And his opponent, Antonio, is on a 2-fight win streak. So you gotta give him credit. He's wins a lot of his fights by decision. So he has 44% knockout rate, and I don't think he's gonna knock out the Cowboy. It's just not happening. I think when the Cowboy is basically has his mind right and is in there, he's gonna win. The last time I seen him really get beat up was against Nate and Diaz, and Nate beat his ass. He didn't even try to take to the ground because I think Nate is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he didn't want to mess with that. But the UFC, most of the other fights on this card, I'm not really too interested in. This is those 3 fights which are on the main event. Oh, well, you got Jeremy Stephens versus Darren Elkins. I can't pronounce people's names for the life of me. So, with that being said, you got Jeremy Stephens, which is 22-9, 77% by knockout, 9% by submission, 18% by decision, and Darren, if I'm pronouncing his name right, is 18-3, 44% by knockout, 17% by submission, and 39% by decision. And Jeremy Stephens, that dude comes to bring it. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He was on a 3-fight losing streak. So, with that being said, it's going to be a close fight between these two dudes. Jeremy Stephens, he's one of those dudes that just goes for it. He goes for broke every time. Will he ever be a UFC champion? Probably not. He's just one of those mid to upper level guys that's going to be like number 15 in the world to number 10. I don't think he'll ever be number 1 and never fight for the title. He's what, like 33, 34 years old? And I just don't see him being one of those guys who's going to be a champion anytime soon. But I see him being a fighter who is always in there and always puts his heart on the line and is always entertaining. And I'm not sure who his opponent is, so I really can't break his style down and tell you guys what I think of his style. But I will say, if he has a 44% knockout range and 40% decision rate, I'm going to say it's going to be a slugfest. And I think Jeremy Stephens, with his 73% knockout rate, is going to win this fight. I've never seen somebody with 70, 80, 90% knockout rate. The only one I think might have been Shane Carwin back in the day, because Shane Carwin was just a complete animal, just an overall complete beast. That dude is this a beast if you think about it, because he would dominate fights just by, I think his first 10 or 12 fights were just by knocking people out. That's what I remember. And with that being said, guys, I will be back in 30 seconds, and we're going to take it away with my homeboy, Nick the Cracker. We'll see you guys back in 30 seconds.
To leave right now. I've come too far the game to let you change my name and change who I am and where I came from. I don't own a gun, I'm not a thug, but this is life that I dug. My coffin ain't ready yet, but I can hear the jets flying over me, almost to say they've been waiting for me. This isn't a nightmare, but this is reality, so listen to me when I'm speaking. I've been here for a while now, no respect, but I'm not gonna allow that to change me. Nick the Cracker was born with a set of devil horns. I'm a badass like Jason Bourne. You can't stop me no matter how hard you try. The insults come to me at first nature. My music will never be censored. This is why I took you on this crazy venture. I hope you see through my dentures, cause my life is in detention.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're back, and that was I've Come So Far by my homeboy Nick the Cracker, and you got, what is it, Henderson Baral, 33-1, 21% by knockout, 42% by submission, and 33% by going to decision. Then you got the California Kid, Uriah Faber, 30-6 with 30% by knockout, 50% by sub, and 20% by going to the judges' scorecard. And Uriah Faber has been on a tear as of late. This dude has been a beast. The last time he did lose was against Henderson Baral in July 24th, 2012 on UFC 149. He's beaten a lot of dudes, so he's on a 4-fight win streak, and his last fight was on December 14th. So I think it's going to give him an edge because he's been just fought over about 2 weeks ago. So the dude is a warrior. He knows how. He has very good guillotines, very good cardio. The only downfall I see in this fight is he gets his ass whooped when people pressure the hell out of him and leg kick him, like Henderson Baral did. All these dudes who leg kick him, Mir Aldo, they kick the shit out of him, and that's his downfall. But I see him using his great wrestling and determination to win this fight. And now Henderson Baral is considered the the 135-pound champion, and he's on a 3-fight win streak in the UFC. He defended his title 3 times, and he's on a massive 30-fight win streak. I'm gonna go to the last time. Let's see. UFC's website only has his record up to WEC 49, so he's won since 2009 all the way up to 2013. So the last 3 years, this dude has just been annihilating people, beating the best of the best. His last fight was Eddie Wineland, destroyed that guy, destroyed Michael McDonald, destroyed Uriah Faber, destroyed Scott Jorgensen, Brad Pickett. So you know the dude is a beast when he's just fucking fools up with his leg kicks, and he's very quick and very lightning fast. I see this being a 5-round back and forth fight. Do I think the way Uriah Faber's been fighting as of late, and with his new coach, he deserves to win and deserves, and I think he's going to win? I think it's going to go 5 rounds, and I think it's going to go to a judge's decision, and I think Uriah Faber will win, but I won't be surprised if Uriah Faber loses. But if Uriah Faber loses, what does that mean for him? Will he ever get another title shot? Because he is at that level, at the 135 division, where he's better than every other fighter. He just beats him, gets to the champion, loses, beats, gets to a title, wins. So I think they can't just keep giving this dude title shots if he gets to the Super Bowl and loses. I mean, he goes on like 4, 5, 6 win streaks, loses. 4, 5 win streak, loses. I remember when I used to watch him in WEC, he used to be dominant. He was on like a 22 fight win streak before he had his like first loss. But with that being said, I think it's going to be a very great back and forth fight. It's going to be better than the first fight. And you got Alistair Overeem versus Frank Mir. Alistair Overeem is 36-13 with a 42% knockout rate, 53% by decision, and 6% by decision. Damn, son. That's one of the lowest decisions I've seen. Usually it's like a 20%, 30%. And then on the other hand, you've got Frank Mir is 16-6, 19 by knockout, 25 by decision, and 56% by submission. And they're almost identical in the submission game, but will I give the credit to Frank Mir in the decision of submissions? If it goes to the ground, Frank Mir is winning this fight. But the way Alistair Overeem fights and comes out very fucking aggressive, like he did against Travis Brown, like he did against Bigfoot Silva, I think he has the ability to whoop people's asses, but he has the cardio of an average dude. He goes in there for 3-4 minutes and then gasses out. Alistair Overeem hasn't won a fight in the UFC since December 30th, 2011, when he fought Brock Lesnar. Okay, and then he fought Faber, he fought Fabricio Verdum. He was a champion, and my thing is, he lost to Antonio Bigfoot Silva, and he lost against Travis Brown. So these two dudes are coming off really bad losses, and I think Frank Mir has been coming off way more losses, and Frank Mir has lost his last 3 fights. Frank Mir won 3 fights in a row. He won against Mirko Cro Cop, which was a kind of a boring fight in 2010. Beat Roy Nelson and beat Nogueira. And then he lost to Junior Dos Santos, lost to Daniel Cormier, which the Cormier fight sucked. But at least this dude is training with Greg Jackson, and hopefully he can get his cardio. I think Frank Mir, the only thing Frank Mir has for himself is, if he is pressured, when you seen him when he fought against Shane Carwin backed him up into the cage and knocked him out. Daniel Cormier backed him to the cage, knocked him out. Josh Barnett backed him to the cage and knocked him out. So if you want to beat Frank Mir, get him up in the cage, because he's not a fast fighter. He is a guy who likes to finish fights in the first round. That's what he's primarily known for, is like breaking people's arms. But this dude needs to come out very freaking aggressive. He is a decent boxer. He needs to come out like he did against Czech Congo, knocking Czech Congo out in like 30 seconds. He clipped him, knocked him down, choked him out, and won. Frank Mir lost. He lost the title fight against Shane Carwin and lost the title fight against Junior Dos Santos. So with that being said, guys, I hope that fight is better than what I think it's going to be. I think it's just going to be a mauling. I think that dude's just going to run in there and beat him down, and that's it. But I want Frank Mir to win that fight. You got Jose Aldo, 23-1, 65% by knockout, 4% by submission, 30% by going to the judges. Then you got Lamas. Lamas is 13-2, 33% by knockout, 23% by sub, and decision 46%. So when you go to, you figure what this dude has accomplished, Jose. He's been a champion in WEC, beaten Mike Brown in 2009. So he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 title defenses, beating Kenny Florian, which I thought Kenny Florian actually won that fight. I thought Frankie Edgar won that fight. He beat Uriah Faber, Mike Brown, Manny Gambarian, Mark Hominick, Kenny Florian, Chad Mendez, Frankie Edgar, Chung Sun, Japanese people. I cannot pronounce your name. Sorry about that. And then on the other hand, you have Lamas, which is on a 4-fight win streak. So, with that being said, I think Jose is just going to continue doing what he does and dominate fights. So, with that being said, guys, that is my predictions on UFC on Fox. That's going to be happening tonight. And my opinions on UFC 169, Saturday, September 1st, Super Bowl weekend. And I'm going to say this, guys. I want Uriah Faber to win, and I want Frank Mir to win. But I don't think Frank's going to have the ability to beat Alistair Overeem. But Alistair Overeem looks like he's not on the juice. When you see him in his pictures, he looks like he's like 220. He doesn't look like he's on TRT or pumping drugs. So, with that being said, if Frank Mir can do what he does and does it best, if Frank Mir can get it to the ground, that's what he needs to do. Frank Mir needs to be training with like Kurt Angle or some massive bad wrestler that's really tremendously good that can take somebody down and submit him. I think Frank Mir should be training with John Jones because John Jones is a great wrestler and he just needs to be able to take this dude to the ground and submit him. Don't stand and bang with Alistair Overeem because if you do, you're just going to get your ass beat. Look at Travis Brown. Travis Brown is a better fighter, I think, than what Frank Mir is, and he got dominated. Bigfoot Silva got dominated. So, with that being said, I will definitely talk to you guys next time. Remember to subscribe on my YouTube channel. There is a podcast coming this Friday on the YouTube channel, The Trevor Pitts. It's me and my homeboy Nick, which you just guys heard his theme song, I've Come So Far, which is a tremendously awesome song. You guys should check out that video on the NDFX on YouTube and rate it. And just tell him that you heard his video or his song on the Trevor's MMA Breakdown podcast because it makes him more excited when we get fans and get people, the viewers, into the songs. I love hearing you guys comment and subscribe and just talk to us, ask us questions because we're doing a video podcast every Thursday or Friday on my YouTube channel, and they're about 30 minutes. They're getting kind of long. So with that being said, I will definitely talk to you guys next time, but I just wanted to break down the UFC card tonight and say if you're going to watch it, I think Benson Henderson's going to beat Josh Thomson. That's just how it is. And I think Cowboy Donald Cerrone is just going to win. Even though I was surprised that he has more submission victories than knockouts. I would assume because his fighting style is more up in your face. He's a very good Muay Thai striker. But I was surprised to see almost 90% of his wins are by submitting somebody. So with that being said, and we're running out of time, and I will definitely talk to you guys next time. So with that being said, we're fading out the MMA Breakdown podcast. See you guys Friday on the Raw Talk podcast on my YouTube channel. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.